I'm fascinated by what you've said about the hole in the market that allows for a show like this. Explain what's lacking in traditional media.
So there's a couple things, right? One thing is that's lacking in traditional media is this type of stories that we cover. For example, if a Black girl goes missing in the hood, she's just gone. A white girl, we will look for and locate for years, months, decades until we find her, as we should. There might be an issue that is pertinent in our community, whether it's political issue or a cultural issue. I mean, for example, the Amazon workers organizing and unionizing in Alabama, or something going on with the vaccine in across the United States in terms of who has access to it. These are things that are specific to us, and sometimes mainstream media doesn't cover it. The other question, though, is how do we cover it? What questions do we ask? Are we looking for the right people? Do we pull out the same usual suspects to answer the questions? That's the other piece, because sometimes you can cover the right story, but cover it wrong. I think as a nation, we're coming together in that middle where Black people say, look, we need our own stuff. We should have our own stuff. Everybody has their own stuff, right? White people have their own news networks. They're called CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. So now let's have our own thing and do it. But it doesn't mean that we're isolating or that we're so tribalistic that we can't connect. Toni Morrison, the great writer, said, I stand on the margins and let them come to me. That's what we're doing. So the great stuff that we're going to do on Black News Channel, white people can come on in and check out our news in the same way that we check out other people's news. The same way I will check out Telemundo or Univision. We can do that. We can come together. So I think the nation's going that way. We're going to grow and come together, but not on other people's terms, but on the terms of the people who've been catching hell the most: Black people, brown people, queer people, trans people. We can make our own stuff in the 21st century. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's not that men took a different approach to Drake. I think they took the approach we always take. But I think, when it's your favorite rapper, and Drake's a whole lot of people's favorite rapper, it makes it a lot easier to not hear it or to ignore it or to justify it. And we saw that a lot with Drake. I think if one thing surprised me, it was how much anger there was from brothers who were upset that I said anything about it at all. They were actually like angry that I had something to say about it. And that to me was mind boggling. I mean, I don't think it's just the situation. I think hip hop desensitizes us to misogyny. I've been listening to rap music since I was old enough to have it, listen to any music and remember it and comprehend it. And I have heard more than my share of misogyny and sexism and patriarchy, and I haven't always been outraged by it. It's not how we're trained to think about things as men, as people in this society. I mean, this was something organized by Black women to support Black women. I wasn't part of the writing of the letter or the coordination, but I was asked to support it. I got the email or the text from my sister, Tarana Burke, and I was just honored to be a part of it. I was excited to hear that people were actually closing ranks to support Megan. That meant a lot to me. My job as a journalist, my job as a commentator is to challenge the dominant mindset. It's to take what people are just taking for granted as common sense and saying, wait a minute now, maybe this ain't the answer. It's getting people to think about things differently. And the extent to which I can do that is the extent to which I'm playing my part in breaking down this cesspool that has become the media world. And now that Twitter is privatized and people with blue checks are making up wild stuff, it's even harder. So we got even more work to do.